Welcome to this edition of Oskaloosa Today. On this episode, we will look at the story of Haley Dunn, a 22-year-old skeet shooter from Eddyville. Next year, you might be hearing more about her at the Olympics. Haley Dunn started skeet shooting when she was 10 years old under the watchful eye of her father, Larry. He and her mother, Lisa, happened to own the Steel Clay Sports shooting range located there. That's where she honed her talents every day after school, shooting the tiny disc known as skeets as they whizzed by at 60 miles per hour. Despite being able to keep up with her older sister Sarah and giving grown men a run for their money, it took state-level competition for Haley to realize her potential in the sport.
I would say the first time that I realized that I had potential in this sport was after winning the Iowa Lady State Sporting Clays Championships when I was 14.
Haley's parents, Larry and Lisa, offered their early memories about their daughter's shooting prowess and about some of the sacrifices they made to keep Haley going.
Well, she came up one day to the clubhouse and she'd been shooting with some guys, older guys, you know, and of course she handled her firearm real well, safety, you know, and so she would go out and shoot with older guys and they were glad to take her along for a while until she started out shooting them. But she came up one day and she said, I had her shooting a 20 gauge, which is a little smaller than a 12 gauge. And she came up one day and she said, Dad, she said, I know I could do better with a 12 gauge. And I only had one that would even come close to fitting her because she was 13 years old, you know. And so I said, okay, you know, just to prove my point that she probably couldn't do that much better. Here, take my 12 gauge and go shoot another round. Well, she broke 11 more targets than she did with the 20 gauge.
And, you know, he always says he started Haley shooting, in the shooting range, but I think it was me because I made him get off the deck so I could have a flower garden. And they started out, I suppose, like with BBs, you know, and things like that, and shooting at tin cans and things, and then started doing the targets. Like I said, we just had one of those little single throwers out here on the deck, and I'd come out here and have to have them pick up all the shells and stuff so I could have my flower garden.
From the ages of 15 to 20, Haley competed in many events. Some of her achievements include winning the Junior World Championship at 16, winning the Junior Olympics in 2004, a gold medal at the World Cup Finals in 2005, and most recently, winning the Pan Am Games earlier this year. She's now preparing for the Olympic trials while attending the University of Missouri-Columbia, where she's majoring in business management. As busy as she is, she says the biggest struggle she has is just trying to maintain a normal life and deal with the guilt she feels for not being able to be there as much for her family as they are for her.
You know, there's a lot of stuff that, you know, when I come home and I've got something going on, my entire family can be here for me and to help me, but then I'm never around, you know, for, you know, watching my little cousins grow up and going to birthday parties or going to church with my mother, you know, things like that, I'd say that's another obstacle it's tough.
Haley has also faced challenges no person ever wishes to try to overcome. In 2001, the same year she won a Junior World Championship, her older sister Sarah took away her own life with a gun. In a later interview, Haley discussed how the loss affected her.
Getting over that was something. She had left a letter that said that she wanted me to continue and that she'd be watching me and things like that. And I did feel kind of guilty for a while to keep going when, I don't know, it just didn't feel right. Like it wasn't that she didn't have the opportunity that I had. She kind of chose not to keep shooting and things like that. But, you know, she was doing what she wanted to do at that point, and I don't know, I still felt guilty for a while about continuing and everything. Like, it just wasn't fair, you know. Mm-hmm. And shooting was kind of tough for a little while after that.
A close family friend and former teacher of Haley's, Jerry Fisher, talked about his difficulties helping Haley through this time.
And when Sarah died, you know, I tried for a while working with Haley through that. Originally she said, I only want to talk with Mr. Fisher. And after about a month, we had to sit down and you know, this isn't working. I'm grieving too. And while I'm grieving, I'm not going to be a lot of good to you.
Do you think that that event maybe helped you focus more? Did it do anything to increase your drive for the sport as far as focusing in on doing something like that?
Yeah, I mean, once I learned how to cope and deal with it, I got my drive back, and I got my, okay, if she can't be here and she's watching me, then I'm going to do it for her type of deal. It got to be pretty motivating.
And motivation brought success. Since winning the Junior World Championships, she has gone on to receive a long list of accomplishments, including winning a gold medal at the National Championship in 2006 and qualifying as the Olympic alternate for the 2004 Olympic Games. While she didn't get to compete in those games, she did gain some valuable insight from the experience, as well as from her teammate, Connie Smotek, the U.S. women's representative for the Olympic skeet in Athens.
I learned a lot, and it also pushed me a little bit more. And Connie, the lady that beat me, that got to participate in the Olympics, has been helping me out since I was 15 years old. Before we go on all these trips, helping me with what to pack or things to expect. And there's little things over the years that you realize you always throw in your suitcase, or just to make your life a little bit easier while you're over there. So yeah, I mean, it's been nice having somebody kind of guide me through the years.
What did you learn over there the last time?
In Athens? Just how big it was. I mean, it's, I went to the Pan Ams in Brazil, and that was like, not even half the size, not even a third of the size of what the Olympics is going to be like, and it was huge, So part of seeing Athens was just how much work had gone into it, and how many people were there, and all the building and construction and all this stuff going on, and how to control yourself while you're in that environment, and not just get so overwhelmed with everything that's going on around you that you still have to go over there and perform.
As if the pressures of the Olympics weren't enough, Haley and other competitors in skeet shooting must also deal with the elements, long waits between shooting sessions, and maintaining focus throughout the entire event. Haley talks about the difficulties of the sport and how experience can play a factor in a shooter's success.
Well, the fact that we shoot outdoors, there's wind, you have all the elements of the weather basically, and we shoot from January to about October. So, we've been in Colorado Springs shooting selection matches in a blizzard, like you can barely see, or things like that. And there's heat, the lighting that, if it's overcast or anything like that, kind of depends on your eyes and how well, everybody kind of adjusts to it differently. And, it can make it tough.
Okay. And as far as your competition goes, are you one of the youngest?
Used to be one of the youngest. Now I'm getting up to where I'm more about in the middle. If you look at a lot of our athletes, we've got quite a few actually in their 40s that are still competitive, and a lot of it is because you need that much experience in this sport to go far. You need the experiences of shooting in the snow and shooting in the rain and shooting with the wind and things like that, to where you can go and no matter what conditions perform at a high level. There's quite a few underneath me, but most of them are making the junior team, and I'm of course in the women's category now. So for the women's international ski team, I am the youngest out of us three that travel everywhere the past year.
Even though Haley has competed for years, her mom says it's still nerve-wracking to watch her compete.
When we first started going, I'd say the first few years it was very nerve-wracking. Larry still can't sit in the seat and just watch. He's got to be over a few places watching from like behind a tree or something. And I'm a lot better about it, mostly because I'm just more confident in her and what she's doing. Before, my prayers and my holding my breath and all that doesn't help any. So I'm a lot better